I flew across the world and spent every last dollar of my savings just to watch my younger sister's wedding from an empty parking lot in Seattle. Because that was exactly what my own family had decided for me. They believed that if I appeared inside the ballroom, I would pull the attention toward myself. Rain hammered against the cracked asphalt in front of the waterfront venue while I stood there in a soaked charcoal tuxedo, my hair dripping. My hands trembling around a thin envelope that held the wedding gift I had prepared for the newlyweds. Inside the envelope were 2 airline tickets. A 10-day honeymoon to Bora Bora. A private overwater bungalow. A small yacht charter waiting for them at the marina. Every single detail prepaid from my account. I had earned that money brick by brick during 7 relentless years of building my boutique travel company from the ground up. What began as a tiny adventure service in Christchurch had slowly turned into a thriving tourism brand. Wealthy thrill seekers paid ridiculous amounts of money to experience helicopter drops on glacier ridges and guided climbs across ice fields. I worked every holiday, skipped every vacation, and poured my life into that business. And when the elegant digital invitation arrived months earlier, announcing my sister Maya's sunset wedding on a pier in Seattle, I cleared my entire schedule without hesitation. I moved a corporate retreat worth millions. I attended the grand opening of a partner hotel early so I could leave sooner. Then I endured 3 exhausting flights across oceans just to stand beside my little sister on the most important day of her life. Our family had always been complicated. Old arguments had built invisible walls between us over the years. But I still believed that one beautiful evening might repair something that had quietly broken long ago. Instead, when I arrived at the venue, the double doors were locked. The lights inside were dark. No music drifted through the windows. No string quartet. No laughter. No relatives in pastel dresses holding champagne glasses. Nothing. I pressed my forehead against the cold glass and stared into a silent ballroom that looked like it had never been prepared for a wedding at all. My chest tightened. Something was terribly wrong. I called Maya first. Straight to voicemail. Then my mother. Voicemail. My father. Voicemail again. My cousin Tara. Silence. Every number I tried led to the same empty recording, as if a digital wall had suddenly risen around me. My heart began pounding while a strange realization crept into my mind. I opened social media and searched for Jade, Maya's best friend, a woman who loved broadcasting every moment of her life online. Her newest video loaded almost immediately. The caption read, "Perfect day. Perfect couple. No drama. Just love." The video revealed everything. Under a glittering crystal chandelier inside a luxurious lakeside estate in Montana, my entire family was raising champagne glasses around Maya and her husband. Music played. Guests laughed. The ceremony had already happened hours earlier. Hundreds of miles away. They had moved the wedding. And they had not told me. A few minutes later, an anonymous email appeared in my inbox. Inside was a screenshot from a private family group chat labeled Inner Circle Only. My Aunt Vivienne had written the message. "Keep the real location secret. She's been gone too long. She'll turn it into her dramatic comeback story. We don't need her showing off that New Zealand empire and making everyone feel small." My mother had replied with a cheerful thumbs-up emoji. My father added, "Good idea." Maya herself had written, "Yes. Let her send the gift money from the airport. The mountains can keep her." Reading those words felt like being struck across the face. They had known I would travel across oceans. They had known I would spend a fortune. They had known I would arrive dressed for a celebration. And they had allowed it to happen anyway. Just so they could exclude me. I didn't drive to Montana. I didn't send angry messages. Instead, I walked several blocks through the cold rain until I found a small roadside diner that catered mostly to truck drivers passing through the city at night. I slid into a booth that smelled faintly of diesel fuel and syrup. The waitress poured me endless black coffee without asking questions. While my family danced beneath Montana stars, I sat quietly staring through the fogged window, mourning people who were technically still alive. But I was not entirely alone in seeing the truth about them. My grandfather Elias had always been the sharpest observer in the family. At 92 years old, he lived in a fortified retirement community outside Portland, surrounded by quiet security and tall cedar trees. For decades, he had built a quiet fortune through timber investments and real estate deals that most of us barely understood. Yet what truly disappointed him was not business. It was his own heirs. His children and grandchildren treated his existence like a ticking clock, waiting impatiently for the day an obituary would finally unlock their inheritance. During our private weekly video calls, he often spoke openly about their greed. "They're already planning how to fight over the money," he once told me with a tired smile. That night, soaked from rain and emotionally hollow, I drove directly to see him before catching my flight home. He didn't offer comforting words. Elias was not a sentimental man. Instead, he slowly stood, walked to a steel safe built into the wall, and opened it with calm precision. Inside was a document folder sealed with official stamps. He handed it to me. The original will. The legally binding version? It named me as the sole trustee and primary heir of the majority of his estate. His children would still receive support, but only through controlled monthly distributions. And I alone would decide when those payments were approved, reduced, or withheld. Any attempt to contest the document would drag them into expensive international legal battles, because the certified originals were stored overseas under strict protection. He asked only one thing from me: guard this somewhere they cannot reach. I promised him I would. We spent the rest of the night talking about business, mountain landscapes, and the strange resilience required to survive family betrayals. Just before dawn, I kissed his forehead goodbye and returned to New Zealand carrying documents that could change everything. Back home, I focused entirely on expanding my company. New helicopter bases opened in remote valleys. Luxury expedition partnerships grew across continents. And for weeks, I heard nothing from my family. No apologies. No explanations. Only silence. The quiet gave me clarity. Then, a little over a month later, my phone exploded with notifications. Hundreds of messages. Voicemails. Missed calls piling up faster than I could read them. My grandfather Elias had passed away peacefully that morning. Within hours, my relatives had descended on the lawyer's office like vultures, demanding immediate access to funds for vacations, mortgages, and school tuition. That was when the attorney delivered the truth. The will they possessed was outdated. The real document, the one with legal authority, was thousands of miles away. In my possession. All accounts were frozen until the trustee approved distributions. Their lifestyles now depended entirely on my signature. The tone of the messages changed almost instantly. Confidence turned into desperation. My mother wrote first. "My dear, there has been a terrible misunderstanding. Please call us. We need to arrange payment for the funeral." Aunt Vivienne sent a longer message filled with apologies that sounded strangely rehearsed. Maya wrote as well. "My sister, I'm expecting a baby soon. We can't lose the deposit on our house. I'm so sorry about the wedding. Please don't punish us forever for one mistake." I watched the notifications accumulate while standing on the deck of my home overlooking the southern Alps. The last sunlight painted the mountains pink while a quiet wind moved through the valley. A glass of wine rested calmly in my hand. For a long moment I said nothing. Grandpa's instructions were clear, and every clause in that document existed for a reason. They had pushed me out into the rain to protect their fragile pride. Now the storm belonged to them. And for the first time in my life, I was the one holding the only umbrella.